by about maybe 4 a.m. in the morning, we were called to pick up that scene from that part. All we had to do, Nidhi, was just do a double tumble, get up and run in opposite directions. So we did take one. And on take two, when I tried to do more of this thing, I sort of jammed my shoulder on the ground. Right? Like just, that was totally my bad because I didn't fall properly. Right? It's true. There's a certain technique to falling, right? I'm born in '83, so we used to watch a lot of MTV and Channel B growing up.
Me too.
Yeah, so brought up on that sort of thing where, in a way, I find what a lot of people do now on, talking to camera. That's like being a VJ. That's a video jockey, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing the same sort of rhythm, but your platform or your TV station is a device. It's very cool. For me, I'm pretty certain it was No One Killed Jessica and Shaitan that came about in the same year, a few months apart. That put me on the map somewhere way down on the map. And then I have to struggle my way out.
And you said something which was interesting and funny, is that you're banking on nepotism for your son in case he wants to get into films.
For she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my first time too.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. Shape the generation.
Hey Neil, how's it going?
Not bad, Nidhi. Surprise things happen, and then life just happens to you.
Well, that's a good life to have, right? No shocks, only surprises.
Yeah, I think so. I get a lot of philosophy off of WhatsApp. So someone said to surrender to life as opposed to fighting it, and I think that's how I'm gonna roll.
So I've actually seen one of your plays live. This was about 6-7 years ago in Gurgaon. It was a play directed by Rajat Kapoor. It was Hamlet in gibberish. Do you remember it?
It's my favorite play. It's I think it by far. You saw the Gurgaon one. That was it was a pretty compact show. There weren't too many people.
There weren't, yeah.
I guess now I know why you seem familiar.
Okay. I'm sure. But the reason why I brought that play up is because after the brunch, after the play, when, everyone got around to have brunch and stuff, I couldn't stick around for long because I had to rush out.
Right.
I just remember seeing you walk out of the small auditorium that we had, and you just had a very peaceful smile on your face. You're just looking around, you're chilling, like koi aa raha hai, so you're saying hi, like very chill vibe. And I just remember going up on stage, it was like a different person, and now he's just very pleasant, no care in the world. So this was about 6-ish years ago. How chill do you feel today?
How chill am I today? Pretty much the same, actually. Sometimes not so chill, sometimes a little more. But yeah, I think there was more of a go with the flow attitude when one's younger, and the flow remains the same, but you just overanalyze things now.
Yeah, right. So 2020 was, I think, a good year for you, a very successful year for you. You had 3 shows and you had a film. You had Shakuntala Devi and Masaba Masaba, 4 more shots, and Riker Case. As a viewer, my perception of you is that you're in a comfortable space, because I don't see you doing, I see you doing very selective work. We don't see you, doing tons of films and everything, or being in your face, seeking attention, which is something that comes along with the job. But is that a deliberate choice that you're being selective?
It is, because I always see myself as I come from the stage, and basically everybody has a career until they're breathing. So no matter how old you get, you are doing what you're supposed to do. So I've never felt that time is running out and I need to do as much as I can in a short while. I've never felt that. I feel that I know how much time I like to spend on stage, how much camera work I'd like to get. So basically just sort of narrowed it down to the mathematics of it. And as much as I can manage and as much as I can sort of deliver, I take that much on.
But have you found your niche in terms of films, or in terms of the kind of work that you like to do?
Have I found my niche?
Yeah.
Yes, I think the niche finds you also after some time. And it's interesting you said niche, because I've always felt that I was niche. But then every sort of subculture becomes a main culture. You just sit, do your thing in your subculture, and you never know. Hip hop was a subculture, and now it's so mainstream, so similar. to that.
Business of entertainment is very unstable. I mean, I would say it's very volatile, right? And especially for actors, because this is something that I'm very curious about, because actors are dependent on the project, like from one job to the next. What do what do you do between jobs?
I grow my beard, so you can tell how much I haven't shot for or done anything, fairly productive. I basically just live, and we have a child now. Our son is like 3.5, Fateh. So he keeps me pretty occupied at home. It's great to be a stay-at-home dad. I've started reading now for the past perhaps 3 years now. I now read on a daily basis.
But do you and I'm only asking this because actors, the between the job things is something that you need to do to feel secure as well, right? And keep
Yes,
honing your craft. Is that
yes.
something that you actively do as well? To ensure that not that you're out of touch, but also just to feel that security as well, right?
Absolutely. No, you're like you hit the nail on the head. You're absolutely right. The thing is, I know my practice, right? That of performance, and you need to get your body and your voice prepared in a particular manner to be able to just glide and do things effortlessly. Yes, and that would involve, which is why then you need a certain amount of a physical routine as well, so that you're not too, like when I was doing NH10, in the middle of the night, we were doing this scene where Anushka and I were being chased by this black car, and we fall into a ditch. So of course the professionals, the stunt doubles, they did the jump, right, and the tumble. And by about maybe 4 a.m. in the morning, we were called to pick up that scene from that part. Now, all we had to do, Nidhi, was just do a double tumble, get up and run in opposite directions. So we did take one. And on take two, when I tried to do more of this thing, I sort of jammed my shoulder on the ground. Right? Like just that was totally my bad because I didn't fall properly. Right? It's true. There's
Yeah,
a
I can
certain
imagine.
technique to falling, right?
Yeah.
So that you don't injure yourself. And then obviously I couldn't shoot for the next hour and a half, which put me in a very uncomfortable position because I know that's valuable time,
Yeah.
very valuable time for a production. And B, maybe I should have been able to warm up a little more. You need to be like, it's like Bruce Lee stuff, right? I may not be a martial artist, but the training I know is that of the stage, the riyaz that a performer needs to go through. And that's what needs to keep happening. So, to answer your question, yes, that needs to be done. Perhaps I need to do a little more of it, but I am mindful of, which is why now I've started reading also. Because when I read a text or a script or something, how do I judge good writing or not good writing? Or how do I make the most of the few lines that are given to me?
So I want to go back in time a little bit to the beginning of your career. And correct me if I'm wrong. You started out as an RJ, right? Okay, so tell me a little bit about that and how did the shift between being an RJ happen from RJ to acting?
The shift was pretty much the evolution of mass media in India.
Okay.
RJing itself happened because private radio opened up in about
It was
2001.
Radio Mirchi, I think?
It was Radio Mirchi. So I worked with Times for about 6 months. And this was when I was in college. So I was like really, I thought I was the coolest dude in town because I'd attend my college, take a bus, go to the studio. Then stage happened, then VJing happened. There was a time where, like, at least I'm born in '83, so we used to watch a lot of MTV and Channel B growing up.
Me too.
So brought up on that sort of thing where, in a way, I find what a lot of people do now on, talking to camera. That's like being a VJ. That's a video jockey, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing the same sort of rhythm, but your platform or your TV station is a device. It's very cool. And then that happened for a couple of years, and I realized that I really get my kicks doing acting, and I would like to continue doing that. Dave D had come about, and when I saw how well that movie did, it sort of gave me confidence that, look, man, you don't really have to belong to the mass media background or come from a family of that business. If you have the acting chops and you don't mind sort of slogging for a bit, just go for it.
And what was the first break in films that you had gotten? Was it Dave D? No.
No, I wish, but no. I did, casting director Shanu Sharma had called me. That was her first project. Had called me for Aarti Shetty's sort of short film, right? So we did that, and that was like a 2-3 day shoot, and they complimented me on being able to save footage. I remember because I had only done a lot of stage, and then they were like, "Wow," they were shooting on film, and they're like, "Wow, man, you saved. We have these many reels." And when your shots are on, then you manage to do it in the first 2 takes. I'm like, "Yeah, great." Now I take about 4 takes, but that was nice. And then right after that, Shatrughan Sinha's production, they were dabbling in making movies, so there was a sort of a part over there. Didn't make much of a dent in the movie industry, that one, but it sort of gave me good training as to how to go about working and performing here. For me, I'm pretty certain it was No One Killed Jessica and Shaitan that came about in the same year, a few months apart. That put me on the map, somewhere way down on the map. And then I have to struggle my way out.
No, but you brought up No One Killed Jessica and Shaitan for sure is one of those cult films now, right? Like it's become, it's a mainstream, but it's not. And that itself in a niche, and you're part of the niche. So I think it goes back to the discussion that we were having earlier, that you have been part of projects that have a standing of its own.
But that is also, that's just going with the flow, because you're subject to so many factors. You can't, there's no way I can. Sometimes when people interview me, they're like, "Your film NH10," and I'm like, "Dude, that's not my film. I'm acting in it." But if you talk to the director and you say, or the producer, I get it. But it's sweet to say your film, but it ain't.
No, I get that. I mean, but that's coming from a place of, again, going with the flow, right? Because you're like, I'm just doing my bit. It's not mine. I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
So I recently saw an interview of you. I was reading it actually, and you were talking about how Bollywood, it functions like any other enterprise, and obviously they're bound to give work to their own people, and the film industry is no different. And you said something which was interesting and funny, is that you're banking on nepotism for your son in case he wants to get into films.
For she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly serious question. Have you ever faced rejection or favoritism because of the big bad N-word, nepotism?
No, I haven't faced rejection based on nepotism, because if it is there, it would be, I mean, you wouldn't be able to go close to it either. You wouldn't even be able to be in the vicinity of that
Why do you
casting line. I mean, I'm sorry, in my head, I'm actually thinking more, not just nepotism, but perhaps more star power, right? I totally understand that. I totally understand how this, and mind you, it is a business, right? So how do you build a business? How do you invest heavily in a young performer, and you build a certain image, and then for your next projects, your third and your fourth one, so it becomes stronger. And then you have a pull. So audience is like, "Oh wow, if so-and-so's in it, I would like to watch it," right? That's how it is. And yet it's not the be all and end all of things. Nepotism is not the be all and end all of things. Or it exists like every other thing under the sun exists, the good, the bad, the ugly.
I think because entertainment it's a medium that is open to all, and you can easily watch it all and judge it all, which is why we happen to do that as well. But it happens in every field. Even like a family business, you'll pass it down to your own child, right?
Yeah. In fact, they probably, there have been stories where they put fair amount of pressure on the next generation to join the family business. Perhaps in our film industry, there must be some people who didn't want to get into that. Perhaps. But then as, maybe 24, 26, they're like, "Man, I don't know. I don't want to do this stuff." And they're like, and their family's like, "Dude, nothing else will pay you this much. Your father's an actor, your mother's a actor, producer, dude, just get into it, whether you like it or not." Politicians have the same. So yeah, it's cool.
That's true. So after being in the industry for so many years, do you feel creatively satisfied with the kind of roles that you get?
Yes. Yeah. Good question. Perhaps if you had asked me this question 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I would have answered differently. But I do know, because of technology and the medium of accessibility, that is giving a sort of a spiral effect on what kind of stories are being made and how you're going to tell a story. So
that's
I think
good point that you spoke about the mediums, because digital has become like, it's a new boom, right? Because of streaming platforms and because of the current scenario, that is the go-to for everyone, for makers, for actors, everything. According to you, do you think the medium matters anymore for actors?
Not how it used to. where one person's either a television actor or one person's just a movie star. Now, if you're a performer, you're a performer. If you're an artist, you're an artist, you know?
Do you see any pros or any cons with that?
I see more pros than cons. I think it opens you up in a certain manner to sort of be able to enjoy the treatment of each presentation and each sort of thing. There was a time where I guess maybe when I was about in my late 20s, I was like, wow, I think I only want to be a movie star, which deep down, everybody wants to be a movie star.
Yeah. Anyone who says they don't want to become a movie star is definitely lying.
True. And yet you get all that sort of attention and praise based on the work you're doing. I mean, technology is BAP. It's always been. It's always been, even way back when perhaps Mr. Amitabh Bachchan was younger than me, and his movies sort of came out. It was thanks to there being the theater in that town. If you don't have those many theaters, then how are you going to drum up a crowd? And because so many more people see your work, you're like, no doubt you have to be like, you got to have the chops for it. But once it's made and more people see it, I mean, it's as contagious as a virus.
Do you still do theater?
Yes, I do. In fact, I'm going to Lucknow in a couple of days to perform for like in the lawns of a hotel to be able to just do a show. So yeah, it's a show called One on One, where we have by Rage Production. For about a year, I hadn't stepped on stage. Then last month, Juhu Prithvi Theatre in Bombay, we managed to do a couple of days of shows. So it was nice to get back, keep the balance going.
Kind of a cliche question, but what do you enjoy more, theater or film?
Theatre is my passion. Film is my trade. And one sort of fuels the other in terms of practice and exposure. So I thoroughly enjoy balancing out. I can't, like you said, yes, cliche question because I have been asked this, but every few years the answer evolves slightly.
Okay, so we'll do a sort of a rapid fire round, but because this is Popcorn Pixel, we'll do a fiery popcorn round. Okay? Basically, this is like a personality test.
Oh crap.
So a film or a series that you've done that you think was your best performance till date?
It would be Shaitan.
A play of yours that you would recommend to everyone?
Hamlet the Clown Prince and A Few Good Men.
A character of yours that is closest to your own personality?
Varun Khanna from Four More Shots, Please.
When was the last time you cried watching something?
Some time ago, but the first time I did was Lion King when Mufasa falls.
I think that was probably my first time too.
Yes,
maybe.
Shaped a generation.
When I say the word big break for you, what comes to your mind?
Channel B.
Which show?
The Basement with Juhi Pandey.
Oh,
fairly niche, but big break in my head.
Okay, 3 things on your bucket list as an actor.
Do a sci-fi, play some format of Batman-ish thing, and to do physical comedy in the guise of Supandi from Tinkle Comics.
Nice. 3 things on your bucket list for 2021.
I'm supposed to start reading a book, To Kill a Mockingbird. That's one. I want to travel a little more in India as much as I can. And the third one would be perhaps to, the world has just made you go so like ostrich about it. Like I can't even like, even when I'm given the freedom to think and say anything, wish for anything on your bucket list, I'm like, still can't do it. It's going to be like really microscopic.
We'll come back to that later. The first word that comes to your mind when I say the following, just one word, yeah?
Okay.
Bollywood.
Nice.
Masaba.
Pop.
Netflix.
The new kids on the block.
Bombay.
Timeless.
2020.
Teacher.
And 2021.
Student.
Nice. Okay, and lastly, what are you working on next?
I'm on standby for season 3 of Four More Shots, Please. That's what I'm working on, like in the immediate future. Our first shoot date keeps getting pushed. We've been on standby for months, dude. But what I want to actively work towards is do more audio-based stuff, like readings for like audio plays and stuff.
Oh, that's nice. But I recently read that you're working on a film, I think Drishyam Films. Is that right?
Yes, we had actually about maybe 3 days of work left, which is stalled from the old world. And now I think it's going to be fairly difficult to try and capture that, because I think all their actors would have aged a fair amount. But Andaz Apna Apna happened, and they taught us that you could take your own sweet time to finish one story.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get to see it soon. And I just wanted to thank you for doing this today and taking the time out. I had a lot of fun chatting with you.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be able to chat, and thank you for taking the trouble to do some jasusi on me. And now I know we met 6 to 7 years ago, briefly, and for some fantastic questions. Thanks.